This is an interview that I've wanted to do for a while. It's Brendan Ring, who's the CEO of Cube Printing, also the founder of Cliona's, which is a charity that IMS has had the pleasure of being involved a little bit and in the past with. An absolute pleasure to meet you, and delighted to meet, and thanks for your time. How are things going? Can you give us a little bit of background about Cliona's?
No, things first of all are going good. Lots of challenges, but I suppose to go back to the very beginning, the charity was up because of Cliona herself. She was our only daughter. She was diagnosed with an inoperable brain tumour when she was 7, and she lived with that condition. It was inoperable, so there was never an opportunity to have surgery, unfortunately for Cliona. But she died almost 8 years later, just before her 16th birthday. So there was a journey, obviously, between the diagnosis and her death. And that's why we started Cliona's Foundation, because we saw the real need that families have, and the challenges they have when a child is diagnosed with a serious illness.
I mean, it's unthinkable, really, when there's a child sick, and I mean, all parents know this, that you do whatever you can do to help and to but it's the unforeseen costs that are associated that are just a killer for families in terms of relationships with siblings, with travel, all those things. I mean, that's really...
Yeah. Well, the reason we set up the charity is because we spent 8 years literally with Cliona, going to a number of hospitals all around Ireland. As I said, she was diagnosed in 1998, so... Our first journey with Cliona was to Crumlin for 18 months, and that was a year and a half, literally on the road, up and down, every week or every second week, depending on how well or unwell she was. And the first thing that strikes you is the cost that's associated with that. So they're the hidden costs. They're the things you don't think about until you're in a situation like we found ourselves. And when Cliona did die, we had met a lot of families, and we could see how, the financial impact in their lives was huge. And a lot of the families weren't even with their kids in the hospitals. Because not alone were we in Crumlin, we were in Cork, we were in Limerick. And when you look at it, the reason they probably weren't there is because they had to work to earn money to be able to look after all their needs. And that's where the problem is.
Yeah. I mean, the simple things like car parking. I mean, people don't think about these things and the impact it has. And as you say, giving up the job to where one parent has to stay at home and the impact on the current bills and so forth. I mean, Cliona's has been has had an amazing road since 2006 with hundreds and hundreds of families being helped out across the whole country. Really, I mean, could you have imagined how far this would have gone?
We never did. It started out, there was a kind of an outpouring of support for us as a family, for Cliona herself, and a lot of people that helped us during our journey. So we ran a fundraiser for these people, and we just realised suddenly that there was a lot of families that needed financial support, and it kind of just took off. Yeah. And every year since it's grown and grown and grown. And what I mean by that is that there's more and more families hearing about us, and they understand the work that we're doing, and they realise that we'll help them with those financial problems, being able to pay for the car parking, paying for the fuel for the cars, staying overnight in hospitals or in hotels. And, there's children at home that need to be taken care of, so there's costs associated with that. And the other side as well is that we help families to bring their children home. Right. And normally they'll be terminally ill. And look, if you have a child is going to die, like being at home is so important to families. In our case, we didn't have that because Cliona needed to be in hospital because she needed a lot of care that we just couldn't provide at home. But we've brought families home and just put oil in their houses just to make it comfortable, and to give the parents replacement of income just to spend the last couple of weeks or days with their child. So it gets down to the nitty-gritty. So it's a difficult challenge for everybody on both sides.
Well, I mean, you organised a nationwide bag packing event last year, which we were, I think we were on the Tipperary Dunn stores packing bags, and a couple of lads from IMS, and it was great to be involved in anything that companies can do. I think it's fantastic that there's a little, giving back is always so much better than taking. And you're as of course you're CEO of Cube Printing, which is an amazing success story too. We see you're posting on LinkedIn with some new investment in equipment. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, well, Cube, again, it came out of a difficult situation. I was made redundant in 1995, and in 1996 the operation closed completely. So the then financial controller and myself, we set up Cube. And at the time, Dell were quite strong in Limerick, and I suppose that was the break that we got. That we were doing a lot of their print for them, and we've gone to dizzy heights, I suppose, up to 2009. Then Dell closed, and that was a huge hit to the company. Many redundancies, so we had to rebuild again, and we're still in that rebuilding phase 10 years later. But we're getting there slowly but surely. But for me, it was great to have Cube and the support of Cube, and going through Cliona's illness with her, because I was one of the privileged people that I could spend time with Cliona, with my wife Terry. She gave up her job as well, so it was because of Cube, and I was able to get a bit of my check every month. And Frank, my former business partner and a good friend of mine, supported me through that. So Cube has been good to me, through my redundancy and losing Cliona.
Well, I mean, it's, as I say, it's great to have that support, and there's many families that don't, and that's, I suppose, even double down why those guys and those families they need all the help they can get, to see them through those periods. There's you guys have made a new investment recently in a machine. Tell us a little bit about what this does for Cube.
Well, we're a design, print and packaging firm. Print is, it's gone beyond that. We try to provide supply chain solutions to our customers, whereby we can produce the information that's required to demonstrate how to use a product. Maybe it's used in the theatre, or it's an electronic piece of equipment that's used in homes or in hotels, or so forth. So the information for use guides, or the product information leaflets, that's our core business. So we were looking at that, and most of these items then require packaging. So we made a decision last year to look at the whole area of packaging, and we were finding again that there are some very big packaging suppliers in Ireland, but they're looking at their very big runs, whereas Cube, we're a medium-sized operation, and we can take care of your mid-run sizes. So we invested heavily this year, in excess of $750,000 in our new plant, and to really, I suppose, the latest technology in packaging, both on die cutting and on folded carton and gluing. So it's been a big investment, but we believe that it will be a good one, and we're able to give more offerings to our existing customers. And already we're seeing that coming on stream. And we talked to our customers, obviously, before we made the final decision, and we've got their support, which is great.
I think it's super important for a company to, as well, to be able to be in control of the full solution. Correct. And to have that in-house, and to be able to guarantee the quality, where previously may have outsourced a certain function, and many companies do.
Absolutely.
But having that in-house just gives that extra notch and raises that bar even more.
Yeah, and we work in the medtech area. And so we can guarantee our customers that their products have been manufactured here on site, and that we've got full control over the entire process of the quality of those products throughout the entire manufacturing process. So they like that, and when they come to see you and they do their audits, we can demonstrate that. So you'll always do better than outsourcing, because you lose control, and if you lose control, quality can become an issue.
I'm kind of in a bit of awe, really, about how you can juggle all of these things, because with Cliona's, obviously it's growing. It's a big it takes a lot of time. There's obviously very good people there behind that. your own team here
Yeah.
inside in Cube, allows this freedom. So I mean, and in terms of work-life balance, I mean, what do you do to relax to
Well, I challenge myself outside of life. I think that's come from Cliona. I was just back from Barcelona, actually. I did a half marathon there on Sunday, and I'm planning to do an Ironman in July in Austria. So that drive comes from, I suppose, out of Cliona's death.
Yeah.
You're kind of really just pushing yourself to the limit because, and it may be some way of even dealing with that. But why I can do it is because of that, is the team that you mentioned, both at Cliona's and here at Cube. And really the guys in Cube and the girls, they understand what I'm trying to do, and they allow me to come and go as I please as such. I'm very happy to be able to guide the company to its future positioning, and we've got a great management team at Cliona's. It's way different because it's all, we've got 2 full-time people working in Cliona's, and other than that everything is voluntary. Our board are all voluntary. You mentioned the bag packing, that was totally 400 people volunteering of the time to give to us to raise money for those families. So it's people supporting me internally within Cube and Cliona's, and then obviously my family and friends and so forth as well.
I kind of, it struck me actually, and it was a question that someone asked me on the bagpacking at the bagpacking was, look at all of the cost of delivering these, and charities, that we've seen charities that have had very high costs. That a lot of the money that is raised in those charities doesn't end up in the pockets of the actual the people that it's being raised for. So I mean, that's to me attracted me. One of the most attractive things about Cliona's Foundation is that it is so economical and so efficient at delivering the money when it is needed at the right time, when it in the most efficient way, and it doesn't go on huge administration costs.
Well, it doesn't exist. Like Terry and I, my wife Terry and I, we're totally we work voluntary for the organisation, and Phil has been with us for a number of years now. She works like four days a week, and we brought in a student last year to help us with the bag packing, and Darren, a great guy, young guy starting out his career, and we just pinned him in because he's looking at the bigger picture. Because it's very hard to continue the charity just based on smaller projects. So we're looking for national events and working with national brands like Dunnes Stores, AIB, and a lot of these kind of guys. And you just said it earlier on as well, Shane, is that like even IMS, your team stood up to the plate, went to Tipperary and bagpacked for us. So you gave us back something. And it's great to be able to give your time, because not everybody can write a check and say, well, here's a check, but I can give you my time, or I can give you my resources, or our website has been totally revamped recently by Agent Digital, and they did that pro bono. Our accountants are pro bono, where we have our offices in Rosa as pro bono. The board all give their time. So there are none of those costs that you traditionally get with charities. And I remember meeting Richard Mulcahy as part of The Secret Millionaire, which really highlighted Cliona's work. And one of the things he felt always that, the real large organisations, and specifically charities, where possible, if we could get the people into those positions that were in it for the right reasons, and they didn't need financial income stream for it, he felt they would be better. Even running our country, he felt it could go even to that level. I know it's thinking outside the box, but he's not a million miles away from it all,
Brendan, an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much
Shane.
for your time. It was really informative, and as I say, I wish you all the best, especially with the Ironman coming up. Your journey
for that.
And Cliona's, of course, it's
a drive me on the day,
and everything in the business world and Cube, etc.
That'll all work out.
So thank you so much.
Thanks, Shane.
Cheers. Thank you.